The year is 2025. The world watches with bated breath. Geopolitical tensions simmering for years threaten to boil over. The unthinkable, a third world war, no longer seems like a distant nightmare. Instead, it looms over humanity like a sword of Damocles, a stark reminder of our capacity for self-destruction. The potential consequences of such a conflict are almost too horrific to comprehend. We stand on the precipice of a global catastrophe that could unravel the very fabric of civilization. The world has witnessed 2 world wars. Each conflict reshaped the geopolitical landscape, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Millions perished, economies crumbled. The scars of war remained etched on the face of the planet. But a third world war in the age of nuclear weapons and advanced technology could eclipse the horrors of the past. The potential for escalation is very real. Regional conflicts, fueled by nationalistic fervor and a thirst for power, could easily spiral out of control. The interconnectedness of the modern world, once a symbol of progress, could become the very conduit for global conflict. The immediate impact of a global conflict would be catastrophic. Millions, perhaps billions, would perish in the initial onslaught. Nuclear weapons, more powerful than ever before, would unleash unimaginable destruction. Cities would be reduced to rubble. Entire populations would be wiped out in an instant. The lucky ones would die quickly. Those who survived the initial attacks would face a new kind of horror. Radiation sickness would spread like wildfire. Hospitals, overwhelmed and ill-equipped, would be unable to cope. Food and water supplies would dwindle. The very air we breathe would become toxic. The ensuing chaos would trigger mass migrations. Millions of refugees would flee their homes, desperate for safety and security. Borders would be overrun. Resources would be stretched thin. The humanitarian crisis would be unprecedented, dwarfing anything the world has ever seen. The economic ramifications of a global conflict would be equally devastating. Global trade would grind to a halt as supply chains collapse. Financial markets would crash, wiping out trillions of dollars in wealth. Currencies would become worthless. The world would be plunged into a new dark age, a period of economic stagnation and social unrest. And as if the human and economic cost were not enough, a third world war would also unleash an environmental catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. Nuclear explosions would release massive amounts of radiation into the atmosphere, poisoning the air, water, and soil. The resulting nuclear winter would block out the sun, causing temperatures to plummet and crops to fail. The long-term environmental consequences are difficult to predict with certainty, but one thing is clear: the planet would be irrevocably altered. Climate change would accelerate, leading to more extreme weather events, rising sea levels, and mass extinctions. The delicate balance of nature would be disrupted, perhaps irreparably. The prospect of a third world war is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace. It is a call to action for all nations and all people. We must choose diplomacy over conflict. We must find ways to resolve our differences peacefully through dialogue and cooperation. The stakes have never been higher. The survival of our species and of our planet may depend on it. International institutions such as the United Nations must be strengthened and empowered to address global challenges. We need to invest in diplomacy, conflict resolution, and peace-building efforts. We must promote education and understanding across cultures to break down the barriers that divide us. The path to peace is not easy. It requires courage, compassion, and a willingness to compromise. But it is a path we must choose. For the sake of future generations, we must find a way to live together in peace, not perish together in war.